On Osrc News at 7, Ayedatiwa launches 2026 Emblem Appeal Fund rallies support for fallen heroes. FG unveils identity number for SSCE candidates to tackle examination malpractice. Tension builds in Rivers politics as Wike Bashiru clash over party affairs. From the foreign scene, Libya prepares for influx of refugees fleeing war in Sudan.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight on the news on Osrc television. My name is Oyewumi Ayinigbara. Ondo State's Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa has launched a 5 million naira emblem appeal fund to kick off 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day activities, underscoring its dedication to supporting families of fallen heroes. At the event in Akure, the governor donated his 1 month salary to inaugurate the fund, honoring the courage and sacrifices of Nigerian defenders in wars, insurgencies, terrorism, and global peacekeeping missions. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole tells us more.
The 2026 Armed Forces Remembrance Day Emblem Appeal launch took place at the Conference Hall of the Governor's Office in Akure, signaling the start of official celebration activities. Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Sheim Osamayi, welcomed attendees and called on stakeholders to back families of fallen heroes and incapacitated soldiers. She stated that the Emblem Appeal Fund aims to generate resources for dependents of the deceased, surviving soldiers, and injured officers, fund rehabilitation, education, and commemorative programs.
We must continue to show our appreciation not only to those that have left the stage, but also to those still in active service, flying our nation's banner with pride in both domestic and international military engagements.
The chairman of the Nigerian Legion, Ondo State Command, retired Major Folorunsho Akinboju, commended Governor Ayedatiwa for steadfast support to veterans, widows, orphans, and dependents, and reaffirmed the Legion's focus on welfare through health, education, and financial programs. He requested a replacement patrol vehicle, passenger bus, and renovation of the State Legion office to boost operations.
All Nigerians and those with investment in Ondo State are encouraged to procure and be helping and let them be priced till January 15, 2026.
Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa stressed that Armed Forces Remembrance Day transcends ceremony, acting as a vital reminder of society's duty to families, widows, children, and dependents of those who sacrificed for freedom. He expressed gratitude to serving and retired officers, especially in counter-insurgency roles, vowing that their labors shall never be forgotten. Ayedatiwa pledged ongoing recognition for their courage, urging active personnel to persist amid extraordinary demands.
This occasion further reassures our veterans and serving personnel that the labor of our heroes, dead and alive, shall never be in vain. Amen. Their services to Nigeria will always be acknowledged, respected, and remembered. This recognition serves as encouragement to those still in uniform, whose chosen career demands uncommon courage and sacrifice. Let me especially appreciate our security agencies for their professionalism and steadfast commitment to the protection of lives and property here in Ondo State.
Governor Ayedatiwa, who explained that the event seeks to raise funds through emblem sales and donations for widows, dependents, and disabled veterans' welfare, reaffirmed his administration's season-focused priorities. He disclosed increased state financial aid to the Legion alongside other interventions. The governor called on the Nigerian Legion to rally members and widows into social intervention programs for the less privileged. Acknowledging retiree skill, He encouraged their roles in community security and ventures while inviting corporations, NGOs, and individuals to share the load of veteran rehabilitation beyond government efforts.
I wish to reaffirm that the present administration, under my leadership in Ondo State, places the welfare of its citizens at the forefront of governance. We will continue to collaborate closely with the Nigerian Legion, the umbrella body of all legionnaires in the state, to improve the living conditions of our fallen heroes' families. We are not unmindful of the untold hardship borne by the wives, children, and dependents left behind. It is in recognition of this reality that the state government has increased its financial support to the Legion, in addition to other intervention windows available under this administration.
Governor Aiyedatiwa lauded Ondo State local government councils for reliably meeting statutory donations to the Nigerian Legion. He also recognized sustained contributions from individuals, public servants, organizations, and institutions over the years. Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
In the meantime, Ondo State Governor Dr. Lucky Aiyedatiwa yesterday handed over buses to major workers and retirees unions in a move aimed at enhancing mobility, coordination, and service delivery across the state. The unions benefiting from the initiative include the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC), Trade Union Congress (TUC), Nigerian Union of Teachers (NUT), and the National Union of Pensioners (NUP). Governor Aiyedatiwa said the initiative was intended to ease transportation challenges for union executives, allowing them to engage more effectively with government officers and support their members. Handing over the buses to the workers' union, he noted that with the facility, he is confident they would deliver promptly and without compromise. Management and members of staff of Akure South local government area of Ondo State have expressed joy over their triumphant entry into the year 2026. They lauded the council chairman, Mr. Gbenga Fashua, for providing a peaceful and conducive working environment aimed at advancing the development of the council. Omoriola Ongbeji has the report.
It was a celebration galore as staff and management of Akure South local government area rolled out the drums in appreciation of the new year. While reading out the council's vision for 2026, the chairman of the council area, Mr. Gbenga Fashua, maintained that the welfare and dignity of every resident would be prioritized. The chairman promised to collaborate with the state government and other relevant stakeholders to sustain developmental growth across the council. According to him, critical sectors such as health, infrastructure, education, and others will receive adequate attention through the collective efforts of staff members.
Revenue and economic empowerment to expand micro, small and medium entrepreneurs, support efforts including training, access to talent, and market linkage. To promote agricultural productivity through input and extensive service and value chain movement. To encourage youth entrepreneurs and skill acquisition to increase employment.
While commending the cooperation of staff which contributed to the successes recorded in the past year, Mr. Fashua assured that the council would surpass previous achievements through diligence, transparency, and inclusive governance.
We will surpass last year's achievements and set a higher standard for serving the people. As we begin, I affirm my commitment to serve with integrity, humility, and perseverance. The God grant us the wisdom, grant us the courage, agility as we work hand in hand to become a greater adversary.
Chairman of the Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, Akure South Chapter, Bosedi David, commended the worker-friendly environment provided by the chairman since he assumed office.
His Excellency, Governor Orimisan Lucky Ayedatiwa, has given us soft landing, and likewise the chairman, which is our chairman, Honorable Gbenga Fashola, that happens to be the Agon chairman as well, has a very good relationship with the staff as well. So this year, our staff will keep coming to office and do their work diligently.
Earlier, there were moments of word administration and prophetic prayers for the new year by men of God, Ayo Akinkowo and Dari Daniel, who called for total submission to God for divine guidance and success.
A lot of people, the reason why they will not enjoy all that God has for them in 2026 is because of past experience. Oh, because they prayed for certain things, they didn't get to 2025, they thought that it would be like that 2026. No! God says, I will make a name.
In order to enjoy the Lord this year, we need to work according to the plan and precept of the Lord. So anybody that is under the control of the Lord will take care of him.
As 2026 begins, staff of Akure South local government remain optimistic that strengthened unity, dedication, and purposeful leadership will translate into improved service delivery and sustainable development for the people. Omoriola Humbiji, OSRC News.
The Federal Ministry of Education has announced plans to introduce a unique examination learner's identity number for candidate writing senior school certificate examinations this year. The move, according to a statement by the Director of Press and Public Relations at the Ministry, Folashade Buriowo, is aimed at strengthening candidate monitoring and tackling examination malpractice. To ensure compliance with ethical and global standards, the ministry stated that examination administration would henceforth be conducted under closer supervision and in collaboration with examination bodies. The ministry said it would work closely with examination bodies, state government, school administrators, parents, and candidates to ensure the successful implementation of the new strategies and the smooth conduct of the 2026 examination nationwide using technology-driven solutions and stricter administrative controls to curb malpractice in national examination, noting it would help safeguard the integrity and credibility of the school's senior school certificate examinations. You're still watching the news on Osrc, and after the break, tension builds in river politics as a Wike Bashiru clash over party affairs. Please do rejoin us for this and more.
Hi, baby girl. Hello. I know. I've missed you.
Why text when you can talk? With Glow Talk Master 606. You get all the time you need to catch up with friends and loved ones. Free with Glow Talk Master. Talk for 6 minutes and get 6 minutes free. Plus 50 MB data. Simply dial *606#. New Glow subscribers also enjoy an extra 2,000 Naira data and airtime welcome bonus. That's right. Every time you make up to 6 minutes of calls in a day, you get 6 free minutes plus 50 MB data. Simply dial *606# now to enjoy Glow Talk Master. That's right, 50 MB free data to connect and share as you please.
Thank you very much for rejoining us. You can watch us live on our website www.osrc.ng or follow us on Facebook at Osrc TV, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel OSRC TV Ondo. As part of its corporate social responsibility, the chairman of Akure South local government, Gbenga Fashola, has presented a set of chairs and a marble table to the Ondo State Radio Vision Corporation, Osrc. Receiving the items, the Director General of Osrc, Mr. Kenneth Odushola Stevenson appreciated the gesture and urged for more corporate social responsibility initiatives from individuals and organizations. Blessing Obe reports.
It was a demonstration of social responsibility as the Accra South local government presented a set of chairs and a table to the Odo State Radio Vision Corporation, Osrc, in recognition of the station's role in public enlightenment and community development. It was also a part of efforts to strengthen collaboration between government institutions and the media. The presentation ceremony attracted representatives of the Accra South local government, members of Osrc management and other stakeholders. Presenting the items, the chairman of Accra South local government, Benga Fashua, said the donation was a way of giving back to institutions that contribute meaningfully to societal development through information dissemination and public service.
It's a signal to show to the entire community, entire local government, and of course the state at large, that this year we want to give back. It's going to be community driven, people centered. We see what is being done at the state level. This born our interest to say we must be able to communicate our interest and support to institutions that are doing so well. And one of it is Osrc. Before now, I know the level, the stage, the station was, and of course what it is now. That communicates the reason why we say we must be able to show forth our interest, our part, so that when it becomes an history, will be part of right history to be expressed. This station is doing so well. Right now we can see the advancement here under the leadership of the DG. That's why we say we must be able to bring a good gesture for the new season of the new era to complement the good job that is being done here.
In his response, the Director General of Osrc, Kenneth Odushola Stevenson, expressed appreciation for the gesture, describing it as timely and encouraging, while calling on other well-meaning individuals and organizations to support the state-owned media organization.
Corporate social responsibility is one of the core values of any organization, whether you're a public service or private sector. And what has been done to date for us by Accra South is one of the things that even me, I value. Because if you understand that since I've been here, all I've been doing is calling on friends to support us. And that's what has been demonstrated by the chairman of Accra South, Donald Fashua. And for me, I think every one of us should appreciate that relationship matters. And if you keep good relationship, people will always support you. And for me to be here is not my own private business, government business. But for people to be coming to say, okay, I want to do something for the station, every one of us appreciate it. And we will always appreciate every one of us. Every other person that feels that we need something here and there, and they're able to put something down. So we call on individual. It's a government enterprise, but then government alone cannot do it. So people should come and see what we have, see where you can make a difference.
The presentation underscores the importance of collaboration, community support, and the strengthening of relationships between government institutions and the media in advancing effective public service delivery. Blessing Obi, Osrc News.
The National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress APC, Senator Ajibola Bashiru, has said the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, lacks the right to interfere in the affairs of the APC in Rivers State. Bashiru said the former governor was not a member of APC and therefore lacked the locals to dabble into the affairs of the ruling party. The National Secretary stated this in a post on the official X handle of the APC in response to Wike's warning to him to steer clear of Rivers State politics. The former lawmaker said that as National Secretary of the APC, he was imbued with the responsibility to protect the interest of the party and all its members and structures. But the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, who did not take Bashiru's comment lightly, asked the National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress APC, Senator Ajibola Bashiru, to stay clear of Rivers State politics. The Federal High Court in Abuja has denied the bill application filed by the Bauchi State Commissioner for Finance, Yakubu Adamu, and his co-defendants, citing grave threats to national security and public safety arising from the terrorism financing charges against them. Justice Emeka Nwite, in his ruling, held that the alleged offenses involving the financing of terrorism to the tune of $9.7 million were of such a serious nature that granting bail could endanger the public and undermine social order. The judge stressed that while the Constitution presumes every accused person innocent until proven guilty, that principle is not absolute when national security considerations are at stake. He consequently refused the bail application but ordered an accelerated hearing of the case in the interest of justice. Justice Nwite adjourned the case until January 13 for the commencement of trial. And now on the foreign scene, the war in Sudan has displaced over 12 million people from their homes. More than 4.3 million have fled to neighboring countries. Most refugees have gone to Chad and Egypt. Libya is now seeing a surge of Sudanese arrivals. Humanitarian needs are rising as people struggle in camps and host communities. Access to aid remains limited amid ongoing conflict. Muyioluwa Oladili has details.
Isaf Abdullah and her two daughters recently arrived in Tripoli from the city of Al-Fasher in Sudan. They traveled thousands of kilometers by foot to get here. They fled the violence between the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces or RSF and the army. Human rights groups have accused the RSF of committing atrocities, including sexual violence in Al-Fasher. She says her husband was killed in front of her and she had no choice but to leave.
Rape, slaughtering of children, theft. Al-Fasher has been destroyed. They shoot men. They shoot and rape women and young children. We suffered greatly.
Nadia Ibrahim is also from Al-Fasher. She has 3 children but has adopted 4 other orphans that she takes care of. The memories of living through the war are still with her. She says the UN Refugee Agency isn't doing enough to help her family.
We want safety for our children. We want them to go to school. The agency should help us, not leave us like this on the streets. They should look at us. These kids are orphans.
Carmen Saka is the chief of mission for UNHCR in Libya. She says she understands the frustration refugees have.
We have seen a decrease in the support and in the assistance. The needs are far beyond what we can cover. They are far beyond what any humanitarian or the UN system can cover. However, we continue to operate and we continue to do our best to assist and to provide whatever is possible.
Sudan has created one of the largest displacement crises in the world. More than 4.3 million Sudanese have fled the country. The number of refugees arriving in Libya has more than doubled this year. If the fighting continues in Sudan, the UN estimates 600,000 refugees will enter Libya by the end of next year. Moyolua Oladile, Osrc News.
And now the UN Security Council has held an emergency meeting to discuss the U.S. raid on Venezuela and Nicolas Maduro's capture. The American and Venezuelan ambassadors traded barbs while the Secretary General voiced concern about the country's immediate future. Adewumi Taiwo has more.
A full UN Security Council chamber underscored the urgency over what has unfolded in Venezuela. The United Nations top diplomat, Antonio Guterres, was in the process of rushing back to New York, so his remarks were delivered on his behalf.
I am deeply concerned about the possible intensification of instability in the country, the potential impact on the region, and the precedent it may set for how relations between and among states are conducted.
Mike Watts, the U.S. ambassador to the UN, called Maduro a fugitive of justice and said Venezuela's large oil reserves were part of the equation in Washington.
You cannot continue to have the largest energy reserves in the world under the control of adversaries of the United States, under the control of illegitimate leaders, and not benefiting the people of Venezuela, and stolen by a handful of oligarchs inside of Venezuela.
Venezuela's ambassador, Samuel Mukada, said the logic used by the U.S. could lead to instability.
Cuando el uso de la fuerza se emplea,
when force is used to control resources, impose governments, or redesign states, we are faced with a logic that harks back to the worst practices of colonialism and neocolonialism. Accepting such a logic would mean to open the door to a deeply unstable world, in which countries with greater military capacities can decide by force the political and economic destinies of other states.
Russia and China, two of Maduro's most powerful allies, both condemned U.S. actions and called for Maduro's immediate release. Critics say the U.S. actions were a clear violation of the UN Charter, but that didn't stop Washington from doing it anyway. Jeffrey Sachs, the world-renowned economist, warned that what transpired in Venezuela could have a far-reaching precedent, and one that will determine whether the UN Charter remains a living document of international law or is allowed to wither into irrelevance. Adewumi Taiwo, Osrc News.
Meanwhile, the United Nations says U.S. airstrikes on Venezuela and the seizure of the country's leader undermine the fundamental principle of international law. Spokesperson for the UN Rights Office, Ravina Shamdasani, says states must not threaten or use force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state. Shamdasani said the UN Rights Office had spent years reporting on the continued deterioration in Venezuela, but she dismissed U.S. justification for its actions, saying accountability for rights violations cannot be achieved by unilateral military intervention in violation of international law. Maduro appeared in court in New York to deny drug trafficking and other charges brought by Washington, insisting he had been kidnapped and remained Venezuela's president. And with that story, we conclude the news tonight. But before we go, a quick look at two of the top stories. We told you that the Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has inaugurated a 5 million naira Armed Forces Remembrance Day emblem appeal fund to kick off activities for the 2026 celebration. We also brought to you the news that the National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Ajibola Bashiru, has said the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, lacks the authority to interfere in the affairs of the APC in Rivers State. Bashiru maintained that Wike is not a member of the ruling party and therefore has no standing in its internal matters. And that's the news tonight. Thank you very much for your time. Good evening.